Good morning, Intenders.
Good morning.
Welcome back to Morning Intentions. Today is Tuesday, December 9th, and we're back at it with our month of trust. Last week, we talked about trust in terms of choosing love over fear. This week, we're talking about trust in terms of trusting what we've learned in our personal development journeys.
Honoring our growth, our insight, and our wisdom, which is what we're going to concentrate on today.
That's right. Another element of trust is listening to our inner compasses, which another way to put that is listening to our own wisdom. You would not believe how many times at our coaching table, people will say what they really want, what they really felt, what they knew to be true, and they ignore their own inner wisdom. They know the right answer. They have no doubt about the right answer. But there's this little voice of self-doubt that says, don't listen to me. No, I don't really know. It'd be more loving if I do what I know is not the best thing for me. It's amazing, though. Everybody knows. I saw this from our earliest days of coaching, Annette. Everybody knows what's good for them, what's the best for them, and what they really want to do. Haven't you noticed that?
I have, and it's a wonderful thing. And I also think it's really, really challenging because what I've witnessed with friends, people I've known, clients, just in life, we may know, let's say, that we need to end a relationship. There's something in us that knows, but then there's this other part of us that keeps trying to convince us that that inner knowing is wrong. We can allow misbehavior for year after year after year. And I'm not saying even just a partnership. Sometimes people know their career doesn't fit them anymore. They made the decision when they were 18 years old and they're 45 and they're just done.
And they may have thought it wasn't the right career back then.
They may have done it for someone else, and we've talked about that in the podcast, but they may have loved it back then. And then now it doesn't work. And sometimes there's this period of a long goodbye, whether it's to a career, whether it's a life partner, that it doesn't work anymore. Or it can be other relationships, family relationships, friendships. It's also complicated because when I hear inner guidance, which I do hear inner guidance from time to time, and it's not like I hear a voice. I'm just saying I get this inside like, ugh, this isn't good. Or be careful here.
Well, let me put that another way for us that just came up for me that I should have said at the beginning. Another way we can phrase this is our gut or our gut instinct.
Yeah, a gut instinct. There was one time when I was having a conversation with someone and I knew I just had this inner knowing. And this one stands out for me, but it's an example of this. I was in the middle of a conversation, and this doesn't happen to me all the time, but it did happen in this instance. I was in the middle of a conversation, and I knew how I presented myself, the words that I used were more important to that person than I would ever know. And so I slowed down. I tried to be extremely intentional, and I chose my words wisely. That's an example.
How did it turn out when you did that?
Well, I have been someone, why do I have the word confidence in a few different places in my life? Why did I have that as my word of the year for my birthday a few years back? I will have an inner knowing or have some inner wisdom, and then I go into doubt. In that particular moment, it was very clear to me for some reason, I don't really know why, but it was very clear to me that I needed to really show up for this person. needed to show up in a way that gave them hope, gave them strength. It turned out okay for the person and the person and me, but I don't really know. I can't even remember what I said, actually. I just knew at the moment that I had to be extremely intentional with how I showed up. But what I'm trying to say is sometimes we have an inner knowing or we have this gut feeling, but we don't listen to it or we don't follow it. And that's because we haven't learned to trust it. It's what we were talking about yesterday about trusting our entire personal development journey, and the more skills we have and the more intentional we are. Many people don't even know what it means to be intentional. And the more we practice being intentional, the more we practice being present with ourselves and others, my experience is then it's easier to acknowledge that you do have a gut feeling, because those gut feelings are just like any other feelings. We can just push them away and not pay attention to them. Or we can say, this is really something that I need to pay attention to. This is important.
It does take practice to listen to our gut, to listen to our inner compass or our own inner wisdom, and just choose your own adventure with those words, whatever fits with you. That's the perfect one. Annette and I, we're not sticklers about word choice. Whatever words resonate with you, that's the words we want you to use.
And we always hesitate to put exact words to things like this is the only words that you can use.
Yeah, I don't like that at all.
No, because then we discount another person's way of looking at it, and it's the same thing.
Right. We care about content more than form.
Right.
Exactly. And the thing about listening to our inner compass and our inner wisdom, or our gut, I'll say all those again, we have to slow down. We can move through life so frantically, and sometimes things are very triggering, and we get into a panic or we freak out and we're not sure what to do. Those are the times it's hard to listen to our guts. That's when we need to stop, pause, and slow down. You're right, Annette. We can push away our gut instincts just like we do our feelings, and we can just stop listening to them completely. We have to pause. We have to slow down to give ourselves time to listen, to intentionally tune into what they have to say. Because the thing about our inner wisdom, even if we haven't listened to it for a long time, years or decades, it's still talking to us. It's still there. It didn't go away. It didn't go dormant. All that happened is we stopped listening to it.
Or we never did.
Oh, yeah, or we never did.
It is a skill. And that's probably the most important point that I wanted us to share today is there is such
100% a skill.
It is 100% a skill, and there is such a thing as inner wisdom. There is totally something that you're referring to it as like this gut instinct. It's a skill to listen to it. Most importantly, I would say it's there to help us in every area of our life. So learning how to listen to it is an essential tool in our personal development toolbox.
And with that, our intention for today is I will practice listening to my own inner wisdom. I will practice listening to my own inner wisdom. Thank you so much for joining us today. Our day is better because you are part of our day. See you tomorrow.
See you then.